All right. Yeah, just give it a few minutes. I don't know. I do know that that's part of the game that they're playing today. That there was a power outage earlier here, and that's not a coincidence. Okay, you all. It's part of the game that the Matrix is playing, part of the radio frequency manipulation, and it just is what it is. Okay, it's just get a lot of people out of character and da 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 da. But I want y'all to know, remember, when we go live, something like that happens, we're going to come back somehow, some way, and we're going to finish the message. We're not going to let the devil stop us. So this is part 2, okay? I'm going to have to retitle the last one and let it be part 2. And I see that on the other one. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, that one is saying that it's still live, but it's not. So, you go ahead and... Oh, y'all, that's crazy. Well, you know, like I was talking about that. I was getting ready. I was telling y'all what was happening when I was in Walmart about with this radio frequency manipulation, and that's what's going on. That's what they're doing. Whenever they do these, the weather outside is fine. Okay, yeah, these power outages, they used to do them where I used to live in North Carolina. They used to do them all the time for no reason. Oh no, we know the reason now. It's part of the manipulation. It's part of the game of narcissism. Because the chemicals in the air outside. Exactly, part of the chemicals in the air outside. So let me go ahead and do this. Not even 30 minutes. Okay, that one. Okay. That one keeps keeps buffering. So give it a few minutes, y'all. Give it a few minutes. And I'm just going to go ahead and reboot. Because a lot of times that's what you got to do. You got to reboot sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this message up. I'm going to share the rest of the story. Because I was talking about how it was no more than 30 minutes. Okay? And I saw an Alan Savvy in the chat on part 1. Okay, I saw you and I responded for you to catch, even if you catch this on the replay. Okay, even if you catch it on the replay, I was sharing with y'all when I was in Walmart how I started to feel when the frequencies were, were warming up. Warming up the salt water, this trap in my skin. And I said, okay, and I could feel it. And I had just eaten a very well-rounded, healthy breakfast. So I knew I wasn't hungry. But as it was time for me to go over to the food area, I only had a few things on my list to get. Yeah, just a few things. And with that being said, I started to notice how, wait a second. I started to notice how the heating up on the inside, that salt being heated up, I could tell when it was trying to trick me into thinking that I was hungry again. And I said, no, I'm not. It hasn't even been an hour. I said, I am not hungry again, and I know I'm not. But that radio frequency that was heating up that salt on the inside of my body was going to try and trick my mind into thinking that I was. I said, oh, no, you don't. I said, I know I'm not hungry. And so, I felt it. And I could feel when certain things, and then of course there were some others. Oh, I went around and I had to get me some eggs. And so I'll get me some eggs. And there was this mother with a couple of kids, and the kids were shouting like at the top of their lungs. And I was like, whoa, okay. And so I said, I see what they're trying to do. And I recognized that years ago, that kind of behavior would irritate yours truly. But see, it don't now. But you see how the devil trying to use things that used to work in the past. But we catching on to it. It's all part of that. And couple that with the radio frequency zapping, if you will, okay, warming up that water. I could feel it. And I said, okay, I see what's going on. And it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do our usual as that goes out. And listen, I know a lot of y'all are going to have to catch these on the replay. Okay, I'm hoping this. Okay, yeah, this is part 2. There we go. Replay. All right, there we go. Yeah, the part 1, y'all. Part 1. There was a power outage. There was a power outage. I'm going to say it was about 17 minutes. Okay, roughly about 17 minutes into the live stream, there was a brief power outage, and so we just had to ride it out. And now I'm back on here with the rest of the message. We titled it a part 2. I had to get out of that so that we could get things rebooted and back in alignment. And so I could share with you all, and I'm picking up where I left off in part 1, okay, about that. When I knew I was not hungry. And so that's how the Matrix does it with radio frequency poisoning. It tricks people into thinking that they're hungry when they're not. That's why I tell y'all it's so important when we're detoxing and combating this radio frequency for healthier living, because it will trick us into thinking we're hungry, and then also take away our ability to sense when we are actually full with all that excess salt and metal toxins and other things, and breathing in those chemicals and stuff. It gets your mind all disoriented. And so you're not able to think clearly. You're not able to, you're more likely to buy on impulse, and you start to experience something similar to a salt high. But see, what's really happening is your circulation is slowing down, and so you're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. You need oxygen to the brain to be able to think clearly and to be able to see things as they really are, and to know, oh, wait a minute, I'm not hungry. I just ate a nice big breakfast before coming here. I got my list, and I am not, If God has me get a couple of extra things, that weren't on the list, that's one thing. Because he teaching me, he said, I'm going to show you something. He said, I know that's not on your list, he said, but he said, small. He said, think small. He said, you got room in that cooler for this. And I said, okay. So entering a new season. And so this Matrix and the Narcissists, they're all about those appearances. Okay? All about appearances. I just had to throw the little story time in there to let y'all know how important it is to pay attention to how your body is responding when you're out and about to the frequencies and stuff like that, and to not let it work on you. You've got that power and authority on the inside from God to not allow that to happen. You got to become aware of it, though. So if you noticed you're fine, you're feeling fine, you're clear-headed, you're good, you just had a nice big breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever, and you go into the store, and then all of a sudden you better check that clock. You better check that clock if it's only 30 minutes, an hour or so, and you're starting to get like, wait, I'm feeling hungry again. No, you're not. That radio frequency and excess salt, that's playing mind games with you. Okay, that's the devil playing head games with you with that excess salt. So keep detoxing, because eventually that goes away. Oh yeah, that goes away. So anyhow, and it'll make things appear as though they're not. You see, excess salt inside the body can cause hallucination. Hello, I have a master's degree in forensic toxicology, so that basic scientific fact right there stems from that educational journey. Okay, excess salts, bath salts especially, okay, they cause hallucination. In fact, any psychoactive substance. So salt in excess is a psychoactive substance. I said it. So it can make you think things look bigger than they really are. When you got all that heat going on the inside of your body and stuff, and you're like running on adrenaline and all this stuff, you ain't gonna see things as they really are. You're gonna think, "Whoa, that's really big," when it's actually not. You're gonna see things way out of proportion for what they are, and that's called perception manipulation. Okay, and that's what happens when you have too much salt on the inside of your body, and it's heating up the tissues. It is heating up that brain, and it's giving you that brain fog. You can't see straight, but you don't realize that, because if your autonomic nervous system is already numb, then you won't even know any of that happening. because the matrix stuff, they're all about appearances, and they want things to appear worse than they really are, like bruises and things like that. So be mindful of that too. That if the devil sees you got bruises somewhere, like on your leg, right, and LED lights are going to make it look worse than it really is, well, the devil going to think he got a physical vulnerability. Be like, he going to try to do some stuff, pull some shenanigans out here, okay, thinking that they're worse than they really are. So we catch on to this stuff, because the matrix and the narcissist stuff, they're all about appearances, outward appearances. Everything has to look perfect to them. And then you're like, well, okay, what exactly would that be? What does perfection look like? There is none. And it's mindset, though, too. It's big time mindset. So you got to be mindful of that. No pun intended. All right, but y'all got to keep on keeping on. And realize that whenever somebody makes a comment about your outward appearance, don't pay them no mind. That's their problem. If they want to make a comment about how you have put yourself together, your outward appearances, that's just them trying to make you feel bad. That's just them that's them narcissistically abusing you. Trying to play head game. Don't let them. Don't let them. God made you in his perfect image. That's all that matters. That's why I tell y'all every now and again to remember that God made you the way he made you with intention. Okay? He made you that way on purpose. You are beautiful just the way that God made you. That's it. That's it. So, whenever you hear somebody making comment about your outward appearances or anything, the appearance of anything, like, you know, and I'm not talking about like when I make a design and I go, okay, I'm not looking at it as appearances. I'm like, all right, is the information there? Is it spelled correctly? Is it easy to understand? Is it easy to read? Color scheme, whatever you want to call it. Colors, are they good? Do I have all the information that I want on this thing? Okay, yeah. And so what I'm looking at here is a short, not short, but, well, yeah, shorter. It's a smaller version of the PDF download, free PDF downloads you can get on the website with our fundraiser for radio frequency education and awareness as part of our combat. And so it's an ongoing fundraiser, and so on it is all the information, okay? And this is just a synopsis of what the funds are used for, right? Just the ongoing research, like what I just shared with you all when I went into Walmart. I'm your guinea pig, okay? Yours truly is your guinea pig. I go in there, and I'm able to bring you all this stuff. All right, hold on a second. Pay attention. How's your body responding to that high frequency? How's your body responding to that low frequency? What is going on? Because that will tell you where you're at in the detox process. It will tell you where you're at. Ah, okay. And then you recognize feeling this certain way. Ah, okay, hold on a minute. That's going to tell you where you're at. And that's also going to be a good gauge for how much salt you should consume that day. If it's still having a little bit of effect on you like that, you become aware of it, then you go, aha, hold on a second. I got to cut back on my salt intake today. Part of the combat right there. So when I say non-human and non-animal studies connecting metal salts and radio frequencies, okay, well, that's legit, except I give permission for myself. Okay, I am the only animal species that I'm your guinea pig, okay? But then I also pay attention to, what I mean by that is, like, mercury, it responds to high frequencies. Thallium responds to low frequencies. Stuff like that we're discovering. Oh, yeah. And then also I'm going to be, I'm looking into software programs for creating more nutritional digital products, stuff like that. I have one thing that I use now. And then also for the education behind detoxing. I've already got one course at the Academy. Yeah, detoxing from Trauma Nutrition course. That's a great way to get started right there at CHAAcademyBTBW.com. You can find that link in the description below. It will take you to how the trauma bond is formed. Click on all courses and you'll find the How to Detox from Trauma Nutrition course. Okay, you will you'll find that, and it's already up and running. Short video lesson and PDF notes waiting on you. Everything there. There ain't no free webinar and then you're gonna get this whole 30-40 minute spiel of nothing and then slapped with it. No, we don't work that way. At the Academy, everything's up. I do not announce a course until it's already ready. It's up, it's ready, it's waiting on you. Okay? And you always have the option to make a one-time payment or 5 monthly installments, whatever works best for you, at CHAAcademyBTBW.com. So we have one detox course already, and so we're going to continue to bring you more education about detoxing from radio frequency, because it's part of detoxing from the traumatization that radio frequency is used to dish out. Basically, because radio frequency is used to manipulate our autonomic nervous system, the ANS, our inner child. So that, and then also supply and other props. Like, I'm going to be putting together some demos and things like that just to illustrate, give you all a visual what I'm talking about when I talk about air pockets and salt, and how there's little salt inside the air pockets, and how when that gets heated up, yes, it gets larger. That air pocket expands. And if you've got enough salt, okay, typically inside a mucus pocket's what I call it, if you've got that laying there, and a lot of times you will, if you've got an air pocket there, because salt is a magnet for other salt. So it's sitting there in that air pocket, and it expands, and it pushes up against that. Boom! That is what causes the pain when it gets too hot. So when it gets too hot, because what happens when the body gets too hot on the inside is it slows down your circulation. And circulation is needed for sweating. Circulation is needed for digestion. Circulation is needed for oxygen and other nutrient delivery. I mean, come on now. There you go. And the devil knows this. That's why the Matrix does what it does and uses radio frequency to do that. Keep people electrocuted with a numbed ANS. They don't even know what's happening. If your autonomic nervous system stays numbed on a regular basis, you're not aware of it, and you continue to get, you're basically continuing to get electrocuted, and you don't even know it. That's what's happening. And so that's why you buy the junk that you buy. That's why you make the decisions that you make. That's why you do things on impulse. That's a big part of it. And then let's not, the spiritual side for narcissists, that would be demonic possession. So we become aware of it. And so that's what it's all about at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, CHA. So we have an ongoing fundraiser, and you can send your fund to paypal.me/CHABTBW. Okay, that's one. And then also you can find Michelle Dickey at CHABTBW on Venmo. We also take funds there as well. And if you would like to pledge a service grant, same thing. All funding that comes into this ministry goes right back into our growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ. That's right. For the movement, to keep bringing you all the education, the awareness, and God's spiritual truth, and then other truths as we uncover what's really going on the world stage in the game of narcissism, as the devil and his minion continue to use radio frequency to manipulate. And that's right, mind control, and to dish out all that traumatization is a big part of it. So keep on keeping on, and remember that if you are around anybody and they constantly make references to how something or someone looks, that should tell you right there that they're more focused on outward appearances. And remember that God don't care about that. Okay, God don't care about that. He only cares about that heart. Where's that heart at? He's looking for your integrity. He's looking for, are you doing the right thing no matter who is looking? Are you going to continue to do the right thing even when nobody's watching? That, a big part of it right there. That's what God's looking for. Because we already know these narcissists out here, they about outward appearances. And they don't realize it, but God can see in the dark too. And so I'm going to share with y'all something. This shirt, it says, warning, expert narc detector. Those of you who have been with us and those of you who know that narc is an abbreviation for narcissist, you know what that means. But those who obviously don't know about narcissist and narcissism don't. So there's been a couple who thought that my t-shirt meant narcotics. No. They were thinking I was with the police. I said, warning, expert narc detector. No, it means narcissist. But I think it's a fun play on cognitive dissonance that I didn't even know we were using. Seriously, I was like, oh, okay. So, and I wear it often because it's true, expert narcissist detector. And so I just said, warning, expert narc detector, meaning we can spot a narcissist pretty quick. And sometimes even a mile away. And that's what that means. But those who are oblivious to the game of narcissism and narcissists and how they are the evildoers dishing out all the abuse in the game of narcissism on the world stage, inside that narcissistic matrix, yeah, if they're not aware of that, they think it means narcotics. And I'm like, well, I mean, I do have a master's degree in forensic toxicology, so I'm very aware of toxic substances, all kinds of drugs and chemicals. Yes, I'm very aware. That's where that comes in, basic scientific fact. And then the smell of things and the texture and the look of things. So yeah, I guess it could go both ways. However, what I'm talking about is for trauma healing and spiritual growth, we become experts at detecting these narcissists out here. And glory be to God. All right, glory be to God. So thank you all for tuning back in after the power outage. And, you know, again, things outside of our control, there's nothing we can do about it. And I hope that this is a great example for you all to see how the devil's shenanigans like that did not cause us to step out of character. In fact, when it happened earlier, and I had no idea how long it had been out, I was guessing that it went out not too long after I left. Because I had a little part of our practice run to make first before I went to the store. So I wasn't gone too long, an hour or so. But yeah, and so when I came back and I noticed that the power was off, I said, oh, okay, that's all right, because we camping anyway. We know what we're doing. And so yeah, so I just checked the cooler, I had some more ice in there, and put the stuff up that I had gotten, and I just came over here by the outside light, and I was able to just put on a little bit of makeup, and I was preparing to go for a picnic ride and bring everything with, and we were going to go live out there, but it came back on. And so I was like, okay, I heard the Lord say, he said, go as planned. All right. And so then we get up here, and about 17 minutes into part one, it goes out, but just for a couple minutes. Yeah. So I don't know. I know it's part of the game of narcissism. And I do know that when that happens, it caught, and the reason they love to do that, okay, is that it gets a lot of people out of character. Y'all know that nobody gets upset or riled up quicker than a narcissist who loses access to Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah, we've seen it happen. Oh, they become unglued. If they lose access to Wi-Fi, they're like, ah! And I'm like, yo, dude. Okay. It is what it is. But see, chosen ones, this is why we learn to overcome triggers. We don't let things like that get us to step out of character. That's why I tell y'all, things like that happen. Like the phone. It has overheated in the car from time to time. And I tell y'all, hang tight. We'll be right back as soon as it cools down. Same concept. Wherever we are at, if we're in the middle of a live and something like that happens, hang tight, all right? Stay with us. I'm coming back because I'm not going to leave y'all hanging like that. That's not how we roll. So I come back so I can make sure y'all get the message and I finish the story, okay, for your education and awareness about radio frequency and more. It's all about the truth, and that's the truth. When we can tell when these things are happening, and so we share them with you all so that you also can start paying attention, and you'll know. The more you know, the more you grow spiritually closer to God. That's it. And the more mature you'll become, because you won't allow it to trick you into stepping out of character. So as always, I highly encourage y'all to check out those links in the video description below. We got all kinds of stuff for y'all in this ministry. Oh, we have so many things in position. We have courses. We've got the Patreon membership channel that I talked about in part 1. And you will unlock access to exclusive content for as little as $5 a month. We talk more about the matrix. We talk about things like whether or not condiment actually need to go in the refrigerator. We talk about, just more real world connection to the spiritual realm, like unlearning a lot of lies, purging that subconscious mind to make more room for God's wisdom. And so we're like, hold on a minute. What's up with this? And then I also share little things, like little moments, okay, little silly moments. So basically the Patreon channel is another door into our world on this journey in God's reality. So you all get to go with me. And that's what it's all about. We're on this journey together, leading the movement to combat radio frequency for healthier living as part of trauma healing and spiritual growth. All part of God's calling all my life to serve the kingdom of God, the God Spirit in you all. So I thank you, okay, seriously. And I know I don't say it often, but I'm on, but we got to remind everybody that God loves you and I love you. So you keep on keeping on. And don't let the enemy's shenanigan, even with the radio frequency out here, don't let it trick you into thinking something about you or someone else or whatever, or trick you into thinking you're hungry when you're not. That awareness. Stay aware. And like I've said before, the more aware you become, that's upward on that spiritual ladder. That's the only direction we can go. Once we start getting that awareness, it's more aware, more aware, more aware. That heightened awareness. And the devil and narcissists cannot stop it. It doesn't matter, because God is in full control. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. And thank you for giving these messages a thumbs up, so fellow spiritual warriors for Christ can get them as well. Until next time, we'll show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.